Good morning and welcome to 5 minutes of free time. We do this every day. I am Rick McBride with your Property Masters. If you have any questions or topics that you would like us to cover, go ahead and make a comment or shoot us a text at 386-866-1007. Today, I want to talk about people not believing the valuations we tell them. In fact, they think we're crazy and look at us like we're crazy when we tell them how much their property is actually worth. Used to be just the opposite. Used to be everyone thought that their property was valued way more than what we would tell them. We would meet them, tell them the value. They'd point out why their house is so much better than every other house in the world. We'd show them, no, it really isn't. It's a great, beautiful house, but this is what it's worth. They'd list it high. It would sit there on the market forever and ever and ever. And eventually, we'd lower it down to where we told them it was worth, and it would sell. Actually, when the market was declining, it would even be lower than that, so they were costing themselves money. Today, just the opposite is true. Today, people will run into people on the street, at the park or whatever, and they'll say, "Hey, what do you think my house is worth?" And we say, "How many square feet? Where is it?" And we know the market pretty well, so we just throw out a random number, around this much, and they look at us like we're crazy. They say, "No way that my house is worth that much," but it really is. Your property really is worth that much these days. Even those that we go to and meet and show them the market analysis, the comps in the area, the solds, they still are skeptical when we price it. And oftentimes, even when we price it high, it still sells within a couple weeks. This market is phenomenal right now if you're a seller. And if you're thinking about listing, you need to contact us today to get for us to get your house sold for $10. What we need to do is understand that prices have shot up pretty quickly, but over the long term, they're not really up that much. If you go back 100 years and do a graph, it's a pretty steady graph. Of course, it has some ups, it has some downs, it has some ups, and it has some downs, bumps, and valleys. I mean, this all started in the 1920s with the Roaring Twenties, and it shot through the roof. And then, of course, we had the correction of the Great Depression. Then we go into World War II when everyone's coming back from the war, and we had a big economic boom at that point, and prices shot up. But then, they settled back down, shot down, and then we were pretty flat and steady through the 70s and all that period when interest rates were 20%. And then you had the 80s, a little boom then. And then, of course, we had the dot-com boom, and the one we're most familiar with, I call it the age of excess. I coined that phrase, by the way. I call it the age of excess in the last, mid-2000s, when properties were absolutely outrageously through the roof. But again, those were peaks and valleys. But if you chart it all along from about 1920 till about now, over 100 years, it's a pretty steady 3.5% to 4% increase on your property. So we are not actually priced all that high right now. There's still room to grow. And you can believe us when we tell you what your property's worth. It's true. The most amazing thing is that prices today don't take, when you price your house today, it doesn't take long to sell it because there's just not enough supply out there. So we anticipate prices will keep going up. So basically, if you're running into us on the street, or if we're in front of you doing a valuation, don't be surprised if your property is actually worth a lot more than you originally thought it was. Want to know what your property's worth? We'll be happy to do a valuation for you. Just did one for one of our old customers who was thinking about refinancing. They thought their house was worth $140. We did our valuation. It was worth $203. So there's $60,000 of equity that they just found that they decided to take out of the house. But you could just as easily sell your house and transfer it to a new property. So if you want to know what your property's worth, Give us a call, shoot us a text, 386-866-1007. Let us use our master's marketing program to get you top dollar for your product.